Hello viewers, this is Nobel Shah. Once again welcome you all to my networking tutorials. Today I am going to discuss about a router configuration, the very basic configuration of router, like how to change the host name, how to configure IP address in router Ethernet port, or how to configure IP address in serial port. Also I will show you how to apply password so that nobody actually can mess up with your router. Well, to begin our tutorial I just need to select a router. So the first thing, you need to select a router. There are lots of router with some models like 1841, 1941, so you can select one from this list. For this demonstration I am using 1841, the first router, 1841 series router, and then I am going to end device, and I am taking some end device like a desktop computer or a laptop computer. Also I am going to take a switch, and let me place it here. Okay, so now I need to create connections between these. So select the connections options, and from the connections select straight through cable. As we know, from a switch to computer, the connection type should be straight through. So click the computer icon and choose the first Ethernet 0 option. Click on the switch and select any available port from the switch. Okay, so my first PC is connected with switch. Let's take another connection, and another straight through connection, and connect it with the laptop. So you can click the switch and select a port, and you can select laptop, and you can select the first Ethernet port. Okay, so now if we configure the IP address, the laptop machine and the desktop machine should be able to communicate each other. Okay, so let me configure the IP address in my desktop machine. Click the desktop machine, go to the desktop option and click the IP configuration option. Here specify the IP address. For example, I am taking class A IP address 10.0.0.2. subnet mask, the default subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, and I am assigning a default gateway that I am going to configure in my router, which is 10.0.0.1, and then close the window. Okay, now let me configure my laptop as well. Go to the desktop option, click the IP configuration icon and specify the IP address 10.0.0.3, and the subnet mask. Click the subnet mask option and it will come automatically. Specify the default gateway, once again 10.0.0.1. well, the default gateway is actually will be configured in router, so that these machines can go outside the network and they can communicate the outer world. Okay, so these two machine IP is configured now. Now if you want to check whether these two machine connected through switch or not, you can click on any machine and you can open the command prompt option, and then you can type ping command with the IP address of another machine 10.0.0.3. so I'm getting reply. That means this two machine is connected properly, no problem at all. Now let's go to the router. First of all, let me make a connection between router and switch. For that I have to take a connections, and the connection should be once again straight through. So from the switch select a port and go to the router option and select the first Ethernet 0 option. Okay, now these two device, the router and switch, are connected via the cable, but it is not still active. As you can see, the red mark showing that the cable is not active. Well, it will be active once we configure the IP address on our router port. So to configure the router port, just click the router and you can go to the CLI option. Well, the first time when you will get this window, you will see there is a message which is saying continue with configuration dialog, yes or no. Just type no and hit enter. Well, and once again hit enter. Well, now we are in startup mode. This is the first mode of router, and to go to the next mode, which is privilege mode, just type enable and hit enter. It will take you to the privilege mode. But to configure the IP address in the router Ethernet port, you actually need to go to the configuration mode. Well, in privilege mode, we actually use to save the configuration we change in our router. Well, we will come back to this mode once again. So let me go to the configuration mode first. To go to the configuration mode, type configure space terminal. Well, you can use your tab key. After typing a few later, you can use tab and it will come automatically, and hit enter. Now we are in configuration mode. As you can see, after a router there is a bracket, and inside the bracket it is saying config, means we are in configuration mode. Well, from this mode we can actually change the router name, we can set password for the router, and so on. Okay, let me change the host name first. To change the host name, we can use a simple command, which is host name and then space the name you want to assign. For example, I am assigning the router name, say router 1. Okay, so the router name will be changed to router 1. Okay, now it is showing the router name. As you can see, it is router 1. But once the router get closed, I mean if I power off the router, the change will not actually effect because it is not permanently saved in router. So to save it permanently, you have to go to the privilege mode. To go to the privilege mode, you can press Ctrl and Z together and hit enter, and it will take you to the privilege mode. Once you are in privilege mode, you can apply this command, which is copy space running -config space startup config. Well, the command is copy space running -config space startup -config and then hit enter, and it is saying whether the destination file name will be startup config. Well, yes, hit enter, and the configuration successfully saved permanently. Well, once again, if you want to assign a password so that nobody can just open your router and mess with your router, well, if it is open, anybody can log into your router and they can do whatever they want. Obviously you will not want that. Okay, so let's go back to the configuration mode once again, because to set password we have to go to the configuration mode. Configure space terminal and hit enter. Once you are in configuration mode, use the command to set the password. The command will be enable space password and then the password you want to assign. For example, I am using a simple password here, 1230, so that I can remember it easily. Well, in your secure environment, obviously you will not use a password like this. It must be a complex password. Well, and hit enter. The password has been set. Now you go back to your privilege mode, Control Z and hit enter, and then once again save the changes. Copy, run in configuration into startup config. Copy space running -config space startup -config and hit enter. Once again hit enter, and the configuration has been changed. Now let me get exit from the router. Okay, now if I want to log into the router, once again press enter, and as you can see you are in startup mode. Just type enable and hit enter. Now as you can see it is asking for a password. Well, as we configured it, and the password is 1230. Hit enter and you are in privilege mode. So this is the way we can actually set password for our router. Now the final thing for this tutorial, I am going to discuss how to set up IP address in our router Ethernet port. So to set the IP address, once again I need to go to the configuration mode, configure space terminal, and then hit enter. Once you are in configuration mode, type this command, which is interface first Ethernet, interface space first Ethernet space 0/0, as we are going to set IP address in our first Ethernet port. Well, if it is second port, then you can write 0/1, and if it is third port you can write 0/2, this way. Well, and then hit enter, interface space first Ethernet space 0/0. Now as you can see in our configuration mode, it is showing config -if, means you are in inside the first Ethernet. Now you can assign the IP address. So to assign IP address, the command is IP space address. Well, as I said, you can always use tab key, and it is safer because sometimes we mistype, and that is why the command does not work. So it is better if you can use tab key. So the command is IP space address, and then the address you want to assign. For example, my address is 10.0.0.1, and the subnet mask for this address, which will be 255.0.0.0. Well, the people actually do not have any idea about IP address and subnet mask. I will suggest you to check out my videos. I have already discussed in my previous videos about the IP address and subnet mask things. Well, this is the command you have to apply, and then hit enter. So our IP address is actually set to our Ethernet port. Okay, once again press Ctrl Z and hit enter, and from the privilege mode, copy, running config and startup config. So this will actually permanently save the configuration, and hit enter. Okay, once again hit enter, and the configuration successfully saved. Well, we need to do one more thing. Actually, the state is not up, so we need to go back to the configuration mode once again. So let's go back to the configuration mode once again, configure terminal and hit enter, and once again let's get into our Ethernet port, interface first Ethernet 0/0. Okay, once you are in, just type no shutdown command, no space shutdown, and hit enter. So as you can see, the first Ethernet 00 changed state to up. Once it is up, you can see the color of the cable has been changed also. It is showing the green mark, and after some time the switch portion will also show you the green mark. So just wait a minute, it will show you the print mark option. Hit enter and go back to the control by pressing Ctrl Z. Go back to the privilege mode, hit enter, and once again save it permanently. Copy, run in configuration to instead of configuration, and hit enter. Okay, so our configuration successfully saved. Now if you want to ping a host, a normal computer from the router, you can use this command, ping space the machine IP 10.0.0.2. This is my desktop machine IP, and hit enter, and let's see. Well, it is saying the success rate is 80%, because it is the first time we are trying to ping the machine. The success rate is showing 80%. If you once again, if you try to ping the machine, it will come 100%. Success rate is 100%. Means the router and the computer communication successfully configured. Okay. Once again, if you want to check your another machine, which is 10.0.0.3, hit enter, ping 10.0.0.3, and it is saying success rate is 80% once again. And once again try to ping the machine, and now we can see the success rate is 100%. So this is the way we actually configure our router, hostname, password, and the IP address for the Ethernet port. Well, that is all for today. In my next video, I will try to discuss about the serial port configuration, and also how to connect a different router so that we can actually send packets from one network to another network. Thank you once again for your patience, and I will ask you to do me a favor. If you like my video, please make sure you are sharing with your friends, and once again welcome you in my next video. Thanks very much. Bye bye.